on this computer. All right. Guys, welcome to 2024. Some of you have not seen for a while, so it's actually really good to see your faces. That's why if everyone does want to put the cameras on, I would rather have that so I can see you all. But the main thing, like I said, we're here today to just try and get everyone in a really good mindset from the lessons I've learned. Obviously, some of you have known me more time than others. I think probably Nick obviously has known me the longest. You've seen a big evolution in me as a person. I was an angry guy still when I met Nick. And actually, do you know what? You were one of the people I've missed. So there's one part in this, we go into my reasons why. And I think establishing a strong reason why is very important, which we'll go into. But two people believed in me when I first started out in these sort of pursuits. And it was this guy here, Nick, and my brother, Nick. So I think it's a Nick thing. Whereas everyone doubted me, because Nick was actually my training partner for my first bodybuilding show, when pretty much the entire gym laughed at me, thinking it was a joke that I would even, a joke and an insult that I would attempt to do something like that. And how times have changed. But this is what we're going into today. So I'm going to start, if I screen share in a second, I'll just get the presentation on properly, and then we can screen share it on. Over here, and then play slideshow. Okay, that's not the first page. Go back. Right, here we are. So we are dominating 2024. So most of you guys already follow me on Instagram anyway, so you know my Instagram. My YouTube channel, if you don't follow it, there is quite a lot of content on there. It's going to get better as time goes on, because one of my main aims was to get off the gym floor so I could try and share the knowledge I've acquired over 20 years of evolving as a man publicly, because I just feel if it's lost anywhere, something happened to me tomorrow, all that 20 years of experimentation and lessons and everything else is lost with me. So one of my big goals is to get it out into public so anyone can find it, whether it's right now, a few years' time, that someone could hopefully come across one of those videos at the right time, and it helps change their life and set them on a different path, just as I've had for myself. So, also, at any point, guys, if you've got any questions, feel free. So, who am I and why should you listen to me? Most of you already know, Chris Pumed, competitive bodybuilder, have been for the last, 2009 was my first show, so it's been a while. The decision to compete was in 2018, but I started training in 2015, so very different to how people are now. You know, they'll go to the gym, they decide they want to do a show, they don't even know anything about it. With me, it was a long thought out process, because I was so far back. Obviously, some of you have met me further down the line and don't necessarily know that I was the biggest kid in the year at school. I had no social skills, I was heavily bullied. I very much struggled academically as well. And there was a strong correlation between when I got started my physical health, my academic ability went up as well. And I continue to see that benefit today. The fitter and healthier you are as a person, in terms of the diet, the training, everything, the better you will be in every aspect of your life. Yes, I first competed in 2009, and that led me to be a coach, because it was really, really hard. As Nick was alongside where at the time, Nick, it was a really hard journey that first show. Because
but you did well, mate. I was proud of you.
I didn't really, but I did well for me. Looking back now, it was crap compared to how guys are now. But it was the hardest thing I'd ever done. And apart from Nick and my brother believing in me, but I was in Leeds, he was in Manchester, I was alone. And it was before Fitbits and smartphones and everything else. I had no clue what I was doing. It was just a sheer will and a bit of anger, which we'll go into shortly, that kind of propelled me forward. I had no knowledge. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to be a coach, because it was unnecessarily hard. And I don't want other people to struggle in the same way. And that's been the driving force behind my whole career. If I've really struggled with something and I've overcome it, well, let's share it so the guys behind me, which is all of you guys and many more, are not going to struggle so much. And I think that's just a real honourable way to kind of direct yourself. Obviously, started my career as a personal trainer in Pure Gym, as most of you know. It was fun at first, didn't last very long. I just come back from Spain, didn't know anyone, heard this new Pure Gym was open, so I went down there, joined it, and then stayed there for 2.5 years because I was too scared to leave. I didn't have the confidence in myself to leave and go and get clients, to go somewhere else, because I was like, I was trapped. And this is, you know, we have this in many aspects of our life. Many people stay in jobs, relationships, situations, even the country for way too long when they know they're unhappy, but they're too scared to leave. And that's part of what we're trying to work through today, just on a bigger scale. So I said 2.5 years in, finally, it was the third time I said I was going to leave, I actually left because it was so bad that I just couldn't take it anymore. And this is when the theory of the raging beta paradox, which I've heard about lately, a worse situation could actually be better. And that's what triggered me to leave JD as well, because I was unhappy for a while there. Whereas if something's just about passable, you'll continue it. So that could be the relationship, the friendship, the job, that you're not happy, but you're not like unable to get out of bed in the morning because you're so damn depressed. But if something was worse, so for example, like the relationship is really bad, then the partner cheats on you. Now you got activation energy to leave. So a worse situation could be better. So something going worse, or I mean, for me, for example, the reason I actually decided to become a personal trainer in the first place was because I lost my job. Obviously, Nick knows I lost my door badge first. Then I was working in a supplement shop, lost that as well. So I had nothing. And then obviously, you guys all know me personally anyway. Then I said, right, I want to be a personal trainer. I'm going to go to Ibiza. I'm going to sell drugs. I'm going to save the money to be a personal trainer, which is how I ended up in Ibiza. I went up there for 5 years and everything else. So a worse situation ended up better because it forced action. It did lead to a worse situation again, but ultimately it can force action is what we're trying to say. Because sometimes we can just go through those situations and become comfortably numb, even though we're unhappy. So sometimes we need that trigger just to push us over the line and make us do something. And that's where we are today. So moving on, what is my current mission? Is continually strive to become better, a better version of myself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and master all those elements. First was the physical, so I was obviously trying to get in shape, trying to do a bodybuilding show, trying to test the limits, see what I was capable of. And I think I found that a few years ago. And then the mental side came along with that, because to become physically strong, you have to become mentally strong. It's impossible to not do. But then I went to really test the limits and say, where will I break? Will I break physically and mentally first? So in 2021, I did the hardest prep in my entire life. 2 weeks of 2 hours of cardio, like proper cardio, an hour in the morning, an hour at night, 20,000 steps, 2 hours training almost every day. And it was absolute hell. It was hell. I regretted every minute of it. But it really showed me the limit. And then everything after that point was actually quite easy. So then when I came to compete again, I just laughed. It's like, we're doing 5 cardio sessions a week, that's it. Oh, I've got this. Because if I've just done that, and that was my limit, then I know that anything less than that, I can achieve. I have the confidence and the self-belief to know that I can achieve that. And that's why testing the limits is so important. Because if you don't necessarily know you don't know what's possible. And most people will think, oh, I can't do that. And it's unnecessarily hard. Their perception is skewed. But testing yourself will always change the perception. And then to try and learn try and teach the lessons I've learned along the way and help empower as many men as possible. That is my current mission. Help empower as many men as possible to change their life and take control and really live the highest quality life possible. Surrounded by great people, a job that they love. I mean, even me being here today, this has been a dream of mine for a few years. And yes, I'm still working, but that was the way I was going to make it happen. That was always part of the dream, to be able to work like this and be able to visit places like this. So that was one of my dreams. And it's trying to bring them into reality, even though it's been years in the process. And we can do that. It's just sometimes we have to think a little bit longer term. So the three pillars are the most important things to become the best version of yourself. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to be in your life? And why do you want to do that? So first we need to establish your character, which we'll go into first. Then where do you want to be in your life? So it's obviously taking time after this and even during this while we're speaking to think about stuff. It might give you ideas, hopefully it will. But I want you guys to take some time afterwards to sit and think. Because as I was writing these things out for the slides and for you guys, I had time to think. And especially when it got into the whys, you see a massive evolution of my why, which I'll talk you through. And it was quite emotional when I was writing it down, like especially the latter stages where I am now, very emotional because it's emotion drives me at this point, and that's why I'm going so much higher than I ever could. The thing that started me off could never get me to where I'm now and where I'm going to go, and that's why it evolves over time. And especially some of you guys that have got kids and families, this will really resonate with you as well. So I've got you guys across the top, so the text isn't really showing. So I'm trying to find somewhere to put you on the page that I can actually still see it on, but there isn't anywhere. Okay. Skip. So we've lost a slide there. Go back. I've lost a slide somewhere. I don't know this. I've lost a bloody slide. This is supposed to be talking about feeling unhappy, inadequate. The other slide, maybe further down, it might have missed the order. But ultimately, it's saying more men feel like this than you realise. More men feel lonely, alone, inadequate, and generally unhappy in their life. But most guys don't realise that. Obviously, I have a lot of conversations with men and a lot of honest conversations one-on-one when they really open up. And some of you guys here are obviously showing me quite personal details of how you currently feel or how you did feel. And it's not okay. We need to do something about that. And that's the reason why I wanted to do this today, to try and just launch you guys off, and then we'll see where it goes afterwards. But so I said, I've had so many honest conversations with men when I see the true them, and they're telling everyone else to fine, and it's kind of the front we put on as men, because it's not masculine to be emotional. It's not masculine to show emotion, and I just disagree. I really disagree, because since I've become this person, things have changed significantly in my life, and being vulnerable in the right situations around the right people is absolutely fine. Being an over emotional mess and crying at work and things like that, and crying in front of your family when they need to rely on you, and your friends that rely on you, maybe it's different. But we're all human beings, and we all struggle at times. I definitely do. And that was when I realized, shit, I'm not okay. And I started to say it publicly. And more people then felt the confidence to say it as well. So in the conclusion of the conversations I've had with men, is that in 2024, the majority of adult males feel completely alone, or very much alone, whether it's not completely, and they're struggling in silence. And this is because most men don't have a high quality group of men to count on. I would class all of you guys here as high quality men, because I know you all personally, high quality men, but we're now on the internet. So physically around them is very difficult. That's why a lot of guys are connected online, because they can connect with a group of people who can help win together. You help share wins, support each other. Not this putting each other down and, oh, it's just banter. No, that's not how friends talk to each other or talk about each other. You say good stuff. When your friend leaves the room and their partner's there, you pick them up to their partner, all that sort of stuff. And speak highly of them when they're not there. That's what good men do, and that's what a lot of guys are missing. Because there's one thing having a group. If we're really lucky, we've found a group, we've connected with a group. But I have a lot of conversations with guys, and I'll meet someone and say, "Can I get your number?" It's really hard to meet guys like this, and it almost seems like a bit uncomfortable at times. But then it's like, I actually want to stay in touch with you. You're a great guy, because, like I said here, some men don't have one. They don't have one single decent man around them that they can actually turn to and say something like, "Mate, I'm not okay. I'm struggling. I'm struggling at work. I'm struggling financially. I'm struggling with my family. I don't feel good myself. Physically, I don't feel good. Whatever it may be, but I'm fucking struggling." And even just to get a hug, this idea that, it's not masculine to hug each other. Me and my friends hug each other. Every one of us. It's not just me and the girls. It's me and the guys. Because it's a different type of thing. We're going, "I've got you. I'm here. I'm here." And all of a sudden you think, because as men, we carry a lot of responsibility. And it's hard. And as we know, that men's mental health has gone through the roof. And it's led to the highest number of male suicide ever recorded in history. And I hope to change that in some way, which is why we're here today. And like I said, guys, at any point, if you want to bring me questions or input, please do so. Because this is a group discussion. It's not just me talking at you for the whole time. But the next thing is, where do we go from here? So understanding masculinity and sort of embracing your masculinity. Understanding it's not a bad thing. It's been twisted to be a bad thing for quite a while. Because as we can see here, there's two differences. Masculinity in its true sense and its modern day sense, toxic masculinity of these guys masquerading, calling themselves alpha males and pretending to be masculine, and then nothing of the kind. So the difference is, what is masculinity? And bear in mind that some of the women, and especially my friends here, they carry a lot of these traits as well. So it's not like it's just a man's thing. It's just this is masculinity in its true sense. Strength, courage, independence, leadership, assertiveness, confidence, pride, purpose, discipline, drive, emotional intelligence and control. That's not emotionless, emotionally numb, lacking empathy like on the other side. It's not angry like I used to be. Default emotion is anger to everything and just shouting at people and making people scared, and that's not masculine. Being angry is not masculine. Being controlling your anger is one of the strongest things you can do. And it's really important to do that, especially when we have people like shouting at your kids, screaming at your kids because you can't control your temper because they've done a little thing wrong and you're in a bad mood. That's not masculine. That's toxic masculinity. And over to the other side. First one, unnecessary aggression. How many guys do we know that just shout and kick off and just angry at everything? And you think they're alpha males. It's like the fact that you have to keep calling yourself one publicly, so like trying to tell everyone, convince everyone that you are, shows that you're not, because you're just angry and aggressive and rude. That's not masculine. That's not being a man. A lack of emotional control. Like some of the stuff I've seen, the messages, and obviously like I said, I'm with the girls now, the way they've been treated, the way that, like obviously I've got a lot of gay male friends as well, the way they've been treated by males, it's usually male behaviour, which is very toxic and masculine, and it's just not nice, the way you're treating people. An inflated ego and confidence, saying like, I'm an alpha male, this kind of thing, that's an inflated ego. A lack of empathy, of just not giving a shit if you've hurt people, you've upset people, if people are upset, not comforting people when they're struggling. Again, it's toxic. Forcing others to have the same beliefs and opinions as you. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. All of us here would get on. I know because I know you personally. Everyone would get on if we were to be in a room together. Yet we will differ on some things, and that's also okay. Absolutely fine to have different opinions. But to be able to just discuss well and not have an argument and say, Jasper's on here. Jasper, how many times we had conversations about stuff where we're on different sides of the fence, but the fence is here, we are here. We're not conspiracy theorists and whatever the other opposite end of the spectrum would be, where they're screaming emotionally at everyone. No, we just can have a discussion. And he goes, I see your opinion, I see your point, and I see yours. And that's it. And we still continue to be friends. So that's a massive part of it. The lust for power and control over others. We know these narcissistic type people, where they have to be in control of everything. They have to strip everyone of their power to be in control of a situation. Where actually a truly masculine person would like to empower people, have people feel good, protect people, make them feel safe. That's what a leader does. That's what someone with strength and courage does. And you don't have to be a big, powerful guy to do that. It's just it's the way you behave, it's the way you operate. And lack of independence, this is what we discussed on the drive here. There was an hour and a half drive here last night. The amount of guys who are just like a big child, can't even look after themselves. They can't cook, they can't clean. It's embarrassing. You've basically gone from your mum looking after you to your partner looking after you. You're still like a child. So you're not a masculine man. and deep-rooted fears of inadequacy, which often leads to the unnecessary anger and the lack of emotional control. Because truly a lot of these guys, some of them are huge, big bodybuilders, by the way, big muscular guys, and they've got deep-rooted fears of inadequacy, which leads to all those other traits. It's usually the main one. And I've certainly been both of these. I'm not necessarily in all the toxic traits, but I've been a lot of them. And I strive to be traditionally masculine in its true sense, which is a very, very beautiful thing. I try to be none of those things on the right because they're just not nice traits to have. And that's why it's so important to note them down and say, what am I? How many of these traits do I carry? Because I also carry some feminine, I also carry what would be some traditional feminine traits. But that's why I'm so loving and nice in the first place. So that's not a bad thing either. And we shouldn't see it as that. It's just want to find the best version of you. It's the most important thing. So before Stu, while Stu just mess around. Stu, are you on there?
Yeah, just got on the laptop.
Right, back in.
Okay. Recording in progress.
I think you still logged on both there, Stu.
Yeah.
Just turn your phone.
There we go. We're all good.
Right.
On the laptop.
Okay. So, finally, choosing your character. Flashback 2021, I started to become directionally correct. Obviously, Nick had met me before that. Nick, you left at even 21. You'd been back to London then.
Yeah.
So Nick left. I got very emotional. felt quite lost because I'd focused so much on bodybuilding in that period of my life, and I didn't really know who I was. And this continued for quite a long time, by the way. There's multiple points we'll revisit. But no, so you didn't leave in 2021. That was well after. No, you must have left 2009-ish.
Well, 2009, I left Leeds, yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, because that was after the first show. So flashback 2021. Me and Amy finished me. Most of you guys know Amy. Amy finished me. I was very lost. I started to become kind of in the right direction, but I was so lost because I didn't know who I was. Obviously, we've covered it now. I felt comfortable to say that because I know all of you guys. I'd gone from the situation with Nick. It was 2 more years, still bodybuilding, being a doorman, didn't know where I wanted to be in life. Decided to want to be a personal trainer. Went to Ibiza to save the money. Went to jail. Stupid. Paid my dues and more. Got out. Had a year in Spain struggling to survive, but then developing as a character, I suppose, through the struggle. Came back to England, had nothing, no one, knew no one apart from mum and dad. And then got into a relationship with Becky. 2.5 years. Broke up, 3-month gap, met Amy, and that led all the way to 2021. So I'd never really realised who the hell I was. I was like, I don't know who I am. I came out of that breakup in 2021. I distanced from my family so I could try and find myself. And then I'd lost my partner, and we're in lockdown still. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was working with some of you guys then as well. But I struggled. And I chose to stay single for the first time and not jump into a relationship, to push through that painful period to find out who the hell I was, who I was, where I wanted to go, and why I wanted to do it. So the 3 pillars, going back to the 3 pillars. And these are things that I decided I wanted to be. Because as we kind of went through that year, I got out into the world, and the first thing I'd realised is I didn't want to be angry anymore. Because, Jasper was on the call. Jasper had a conversation with me while we were training in December 2020. And he said, mate, you're angry all the time. So the anger had started to get worse and worse. And it was hard to hear because it came from a place of love. He wasn't attacking me. He was just kind of holding me accountable. A great man around me holding me accountable for my behavior. And when he left my house, I had to sit in that and think about it and go, I don't want people to think I'm angry. I don't want Jasper's girlfriend, who's only seen me on Instagram for the last 2 months, so she can feel it through my bloody stories. So how bad is that? I was like, I don't want that. That's not, I don't want that to be how people see me. So I needed to make a change. So I had to start working on my anger. So the first thing I did was a social cleanse, and I started removing everything I could. Anything that brought negative emotion, removed it. Unfollowed people, distance from people. And then after that was a lot of awkward conversations where I had to take ownership for my shit and say to people like, I'm sorry that I hurt you. I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry I did this. And it did get easier every time, and I felt like I was getting weights lifted because this was clearing my past of all the stuff that was still kind of bogging me down. Most of you guys will probably have that as well. And once you get rid of all that stuff, now you're in the present. So, okay, who am I? I don't know. Where do I want to be? Well, I'm less angry anyway. I'm starting to be. But then what else? So I'm going out into the world, and people kept saying the same thing. I feel safe with you. I feel like I can trust you. That was a common narrative that kept getting said. I was like, okay, I think this is part of who I need to be. So then I wanted to be a leader because people said they feel they can trust me and they feel safe. So I need to lead people then. I need to take responsibility for people because once the girls go to Mexico, why have I come with two girls? Because they were going to come and I was going to go. And I said, why don't we all go together? But they're comfortable to do that because they feel way safer coming with me than they would have done on their own. And that was the reason why. But then the leadership skills that I started to learn right back in 2021, I've practiced more and more and more. So when we're sat doing these conversations like this, no matter how big this group would have been, I feel confident standing here saying that I feel like I'm a strong leader at this point. And whatever we could do, if shit went wrong, I would know what to do and I would take charge because people need that. Because when lockdown hit and people were panicking, they were freaking out, if that was to repeat again now, I would just go, right, we're okay. And I would take responsibility for as many people as physically possible to make sure that people felt safe. And that's again, a protector, a great man, not just a nice guy. And the reason I say nice guy, and some of you may feel this, because all of you are very nice guys, by the way, very good guys. But it's whether you're a great man or a nice guy. Because nice guys get took the piss out of and you get warts all over. Whereas a good man gets brought into situations and they take control of situations, but they don't let people push them around. So it's knowing where's your boundaries and saying, hang on, I'm being taken advantage of now. And then saying, no, that's unacceptable. I'm a good man, but I'm not just being bullied and taken piss out of and being my advantage. People take advantage of my kindness. So it's knowing where to draw the line. And that's a really important thing because in the past I didn't. And I got pushed all over way too much. I wanted to be genuine, honest, kind, open-minded, accepting of others, very disciplined, which I suppose I already had, emotionally intelligent and controlled, obviously coming from the anger first, but everything else. I wanted to learn about emotions because if I didn't, I would have gone very crazy with the breakup with Amy because she was just rah all the time. It's the thing she needs to learn. And then obviously most of you guys would know I went through a breakup last year. If I didn't continue the educational down that road, I would have lost my mind. But in some ways that breakup was a good thing because I had to learn the emotional intelligence to deal with the situation, which has made me a better person today. I wanted to be loving, which I suppose I already was, but I've just become more so. Positive, definitely a positive guy. Strong enough to stand alone. Well, I was traveling for like 16 hours yesterday on my own. I felt absolutely fine. Landed in random countries, was like, that's fine. And it's that sort of stuff where sometimes you've got to go out on your own. I've done 3 solo trips last year. First one I was kind of nervous. After that, I thought, do you know what? Sometimes I actually need this. This is exactly what I need. But in the past, when I broke up with Becky before I met Amy, I was too scared to even go to the cinema on my own. The amount of Saturdays I sat there for those 3 months, I'm going to go to cinema today. So the first thing I did after me and Amy broke up was I went to the damn cinema. I didn't care what I watched. It was the act of going. I needed to do that for me to grow as a person. And that's what holds so many people back from their dreams, their goals, because they're too scared to do it on their own. And sometimes you've got to. And other times you might just be faced with a situation where, unfortunately, there's no one there to help. And you have to be strong enough to find the answers on your own. And that doesn't mean you have to be a leader of thousands of people, but at least a leader of your own life. Being authentic is a massive one for me. And then being myself unapologetically. Because once you find the person that you are and you want to be and the person that you're damn proud of, you can be yourself and you can be yourself unapologetically because you go, I'm proud of the man I am. I'm proud of the person that I've become because the work I've put in to become this person. So I don't need to apologize if someone doesn't like me. Some people don't like me. But I know a lot of people do. And I always came with the rule of, if more than 50% of people in a new situation like you, then the ones who don't, providing it's not like 51%, 49% don't like you. If it's a small percentage don't like you, fuck them. They're probably just miserable guys, toxic masculinity and all the other stuff that they need to come in and work on this stuff. But if the majority of people in a new situation like you, and of being the person that you are, you don't have to worry about the ones that don't. Don't stress it. Just go, well, I've got some great people around me in my life and they love me for who I am. So if you don't, that's fine. And that was one of the biggest things for me that helped me be happy in my life. Being authentically me and being myself unapologetically. So once you establish these things, once you establish your character, what that looks like, even if it's just a list like this, which I want you guys to try and think of a list like this, what were the character traits of the man you want to be? What would that look like? Because once you establish that, you start working towards it. Because to become this person, this was a list I made in 2021, but it took me sort of 18 months to really start to be this person. And then hold on to this person. Remember that this is who I'm meant to be. And even tell people. So I had people that pulled me on my behavior. Jasper's just done it lately, again. Because I was starting to lose it. Stress was getting too much. I'm exhausted, I'm burnt out. And I was showing up as a shit version of me every single Wednesday to two great guys. Jasper and Pete had a shit version of me every Wednesday. And it was unfair, unacceptable. And they pulled me on it. And it was up to me to change. Because I knew it was going on. But when they pulled me, it was like, oh shit, I need to do something about this now. Because these are good guys. The respect of them is important to me. So having people around you like that, that hold you accountable, is really important, because I don't want to lose the respect of important people in my life. It's not like you're trying to have everyone like you, but when you have close people to you, that I don't want them to perceive me differently because I'm showing up as a bad version of me. So I need to take myself away maybe. I need to work on myself again, come back to this person, and then show up in the right way. It's really, really important. So the next pillar, where do you want to be in your life? This one's a little bit of a short one, so don't worry. But it's very important. That is heavily dictated on how big of a time horizon you can work in. So fortunately for me, I did bodybuilding. So, and because I wasn't very good, like, it's not like I could do 12 months, but it would be at least 12 months just due to the process. But because I wasn't very good, it was 24. So I learned to work in 24-month time horizons. And then I went to jail, which was a long time. So that forced a longer time horizon. So that's allowed me, oh, Morgan, you're well late. I can't see everyone one time. No. Morgan, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I got an emergency run to the vet, so I'm just back in. Sorry for being late.
It's okay. I'm going to send the slides over afterwards anyway, so you can still look through this stuff. And it's recorded, so you can catch up afterwards. We are just establishing there's 3 pillars. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to be in your life? And what is the reasons why? So we're now on to where do you want? No, come back. So we're now just saying, where do you want to be in your life? And it's heavily dictated on how big of a time horizon you can work in. So if you can look like 5 years ahead, which freaks some people out, but if you're able to do that, you're able to achieve great things. Because if you can say, I'm going there, and it's 5 years away, and there's mountains to climb, and there's setbacks, and there's things that knock your path, and there's distractions, and things you need to learn along the way, but I'm going there no matter what. You will find a fucking way, no matter what, to get there. And that's a really, really good thing to learn if you see far in the future. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that way all the time. So we've got some examples here. Even if it's just short ones, it's just, we'll be able to get there. But the main thing is, with a lack of direction, the target and time frame, sorry, because the title at the top of every page is covered up by you guys at the top. Target and time frame. So With no target, you lack direction. With no time frame, you lack urgency and never get there. So, I mean, a very short example would be last summer, I was like, I want to get leaner for the summer. There's no time frame really for the summer. No specific time frame, and it's so vague. There's no direction. So I'm just going. So there's no sense of urgency and there's no direction. So I started dieting, and the amount of days I missed my steps and didn't really stick to my calories and didn't track my food and stuff like that. Compare that to when I'm doing a show. I am competing on September 5th, and I want to be in the top 3. And we've got however many weeks. So now we've got sense of urgency, which gets greater every single day, and we've got the very specific goal. That the difference of just it was the same thing. I'm dieting, same thing, very very different. I felt the difference, and it was the same for a lot of you guys. And that's why I try and say to people now, if we can be really specific and create that target, we know exactly where we want to go. And the more specific you can be, the more you can start to manifest it and work towards it. And if you set a time frame for yourself, now you're going to have to work because you've got a sense of urgency, because you're going to be disciplined with that time frame. And ideally, beat it. Because how many clients have I had in the past that have said, I want to lose X amount of weight, but we never set a time frame. And they never get there. They get almost there and they're back. Almost there and they're back. And it's like this for years even. Whereas if they just went, right, in 6 fucking months, I'm getting 10 kilos off and I'm getting below whatever, a number. And it's like, right, let's treat it like a bodybuilding show then. Not quite so extreme, but time frame. Every week, right, we moving. And the results are so much different. So examples here, physique goals. A very vague goal. I want to lose weight and gain muscle, which is almost what almost everyone says. So I then have to start saying, why? Can we be more specific? And then a more specific one would be, I want to drop a minimum of 5 kilos in the next 6 weeks so I can see visible abs and detail in my arms and chest. Sorry, my chest and shoulders. Then go into a gaining phase, build at least 2 kilos of muscle in the next 6 months, focusing on bringing up my glutes, hamstrings, and arms because they're my weakest body parts and they're out of balance with the rest of my body. Can we see how much different that is? And potentially that's, in their head, it's kind of similar. But the way they then execute that goal is very different when we can be specific. Set timeframes, set goals, and then we can start to work around it a lot more. And then a life goal could be, I want a new job and I'm unhappy. Which again, a lot of people do come to me and say both these things. But they're just kind of non-specific. As if I said, I'm miserable in the UK. After holiday to Asia, I want to be there. I've always had a dream of working remotely from my laptop. So within 2 years, I'm going to build, I use online coaching for this because I thought it was the easiest thing just to put it. I'm going to build my online coaching business, get off the gym floor as a personal trainer, and start living the life of my dreams in Asia, because I only need a minimum of 30 clients to be able to achieve this. So if I can gain and hold 30 clients, so obviously you want to do that for a bit before you just make the jump, then I can make it possible. We've got Ryan, if he's still on the call. Ryan is doing something similar now, which actually was the reason why I said Asia, because Ryan wants to go to Asia, and then he's changed jobs, and he's now working remotely, and he's making it fucking happen. Because he's going, mate, I'm so miserable in the UK. I want to go to Asia. First it was traveling, then it's like, well, I'm going to go there for a few months, and I'm going to work. Because if you can work, then you can stay there for an extended time period. So if you could make that happen, if you could work remotely or something like that, or you could build a business, or so if it was like, I've got to find a way to have cash flow coming in, or save money, or something, so you could save money and then maybe move, and then start your same job somewhere else. There's so many ways you can make that happen, but it's going to be a long time. It's just that if someone said that the gap between where you are now in your unhappy job in the UK and being over there in your dream job could be 5 years away. But it's your dream life. It's worth it. Because otherwise, in 5 years, where are you going to be? In the same place in the UK, miserable? And there's people I know that it's a full family will go. I want a better life for my family. This in the UK is not good. I don't want to raise my kids here, all this stuff. Right, it's worth finding a way, even if it takes 5 years, to get there, make it happen. And the more we can do that, the better. But this is when the reasons why come in. And that's why it's so important to establish your why. Finding your why. So a lot of people say about, I'm waiting to get, I'm just not very motivated. I want to make a change, but I'm not very motivated. And they're kind of waiting for this idea of motivation to come along. And then the other people say, discipline is what you need. If you're disciplined, you don't need to wait for motivation because you'll always just do it anyway, regardless. You'll do what's required, which is true. However, people constantly argue over this, and motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what gets you to goals, which is true. But I have a better one, because with a strong enough reason why you'd crawl through broken glass to achieve your dreams, which is true. Like, example, you've all seen at least one Saw film. They have a strong reason why they cut their own arm off or something like that, because they're going to die otherwise. It's a very strong reason why. It's an extreme example, but it's the same as like, okay, if you've got a very, very, a very strong drug addiction, so heroin or something like that, those guys will do pretty much anything to get their fix, because it's a strong enough reason why that they will do absolutely anything possible to get it. And yes, we're not talking about drug addiction and cutting your own arms off to save your life or anything else, but it's just an example of the reasons why. When I said meaning the reason why, strong enough reason why means you will stop at nothing to make your dreams a reality unless your life comes to an end before you get there. So your life could be, I mean, you could be Elon Musk and you're trying to get to the moon, and maybe your life could come to an end before you get there because your dream's so big that it takes a long time. But ultimately, you will be unstoppable. If you can stack reasons why, you genuinely will become unstoppable. And you'll do it with a smile on your face the whole time. Because that's how I feel now. And there's a lot of days I wake up and go, oh, this is shit today, this sucks. But I'll do it with a smile on my face because I know what it's going to achieve. I know the reason why I'm doing it. I know where I'm going. And it's so specific that you can keep going throughout. So, oh, these have all messed up the order. No, it's totally wrong. And there we go. So my reasons why. So when I first started, when I was younger, which is Nick left when I was about 21. So I was fueled by trying to prove everyone wrong. The whole gym laughed at me that I was going to be a bodybuilder. But prior to that, I took PE as an option at school, and the whole room, literally, this is not a joke, the entire room laughed when I walked in on day one. And now most of those guys are probably overweight. Most of them probably not exercise at all. And I'm here telling people, I'll try to help people change life. So don't ever let people in those kind of situations stop you from doing anything. But being fueled in anger and proving people wrong is a good motivating start. Next one was the middle fingers of my dad. I was hating him. He was a dick. And that is still the next one as well. That went on for a while, trying to prove my dad wrong. Fuck you, I hate you. And then the last one, I only had three to start with, because my brother believed in me and Nick also believed in me. So I had two people that actually believed in me. That's all I had. Even my girlfriend at the time didn't believe in me. No one did. And that makes it so much harder. But if you have more people, then it makes it easier. As I got a little bit older, it was to improve on what I achieved so far. I started to do okay by that point. I was a little bit less angry. I started to do a bit better. I changed the person. And I started to at least make something of my life. Learn from my mistakes and gain more knowledge because I was doing it on my own. So I just had to improve. I had to learn from mistakes and gain more. I'm still a little bit angry. Still, I don't want to give middle finger to my dad. So there's still that anger element there. And then start making something of my life, because I was a university dropout, doorman, no skills, no value. And I wanted to do something at least. And it's also at that point I started to want to help people struggle less, because I struggled so much. And I thought if I could share some of this knowledge, it can help people struggle less. And that's when the idea of becoming a personal trainer came in, because the only thing I knew was being doorman and fitness. That's all I knew. I had no base skills that could be transferred to anything else. Damn, they're messed up as well. So I've left a list on the left-hand side just for a reference to see how it's starting to change. Age 24 to 30, I wanted to master my mental state and find my limits. So that was obviously pushing myself further and further with bodybuilding and everything else, to find my limits, find what I was capable of. Because then you become a lot more capable in your life, gain a lot more self-confidence. I started to follow my passion. So we can see how anger is now shifting to passion. And I'm driving, and it's also, as you can see, as the list grows, it's a lot less about me and a lot more about other people doing something bigger than me to help people. I decided to want to help people by that point. It stopped being about me so much, and to make my family proud. So I've gone from middle finger to my dad. I decided to want to make them proud by that point, especially towards the age of 30. It's like, I was going to jail and everything, Christ's sake. I wanted to start to make people proud. To achieve success in my life, to make something of my life. I'd wasted the first 25 years of it. I wanted to start doing something special. So I've stable finances, I've been poor most of my adult life. to be my authentic self and stop being trying to be like others, because I had lived a lie, essentially, trying to be like other people for so long. Funnily enough, I wanted to be like my brother for a long time, because I felt he was liked more by my parents and stuff like that. And now it's probably the other way around. And we both have our own characters, but I think he looks up to me more than I look up to him at this point. And a daft one at the bottom, which a lot of guys actually say more than you realise, I just want to feel comfortable with my top off. So now I'm starting my top off, so it's kind of funny. This wasn't intentional, it's just really hot. But to feel comfortable with my top off. It sounds silly, but the amount of guys that'll say that, I just want to go on holiday and just feel comfortable. But that's I think if you're someone who feels that, you probably think it's quite abnormal. It's actually really common in today's society, especially when I didn't have when I first started. You got this. If I have my explore page, everyone's the most beautiful people in the world, and it's just not. That's not the way the world is. But it makes you feel shit about yourself most of the time if you compare yourself to others. So this is a long list. I may as well put the full list up. You can see how it's changed. The evolution of my why. This is where I am now. So this is why I'm such a different person. And this is why even on the shittest days, I can wake up and go, let's get it done. Because I know the reasons why am I doing this? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because we've gone from helping people to I want to change and save as many lives as possible. And now I just don't want to make my parents proud. I want to retire my parents. And that's one of those came from the conversation with my mum. The end of my competitions in 2022, my mum told me how little she gets on her pension, and I nearly cried. It's like, that's bullshit. You've done all this for me my entire life. I need to earn more money because I want to give her money. I realise now if I'm building a company of some kind, then I can give her a job instead to give her more fulfillment as well and give her money. But ultimately, that's a big driving factor. I want my parents to go and live their life. They've sacrificed so much, and if any of you guys, not everyone, I understand this, which I only realised last couple of years. I am very, very fortunate to have two loving parents and a loving brother that will be there no matter what. And I realise that's a huge privilege, and not everyone has. But guys, if you have even just one parent, one sibling, one person that you know will be there no matter what, and they've sacrificed and they've given for you and they've worked hard and they've done stuff, that should be one of your goals as well, to help them now live their life. Because if they've sacrificed a lot of their life to bring you into this world and to make you the man you are right now, make that one of your goals, because it really fucking drives you. And then I want to pour as much love and positivity into the world as possible. So I've gone from being angry to I'm fueled on love and positivity. Because anger will not get you very far. It's a good start, but it leads down a very dark road. To master my emotion and be at peace. I was angry for a long time. I want to be at peace. I want to be happy and calm all the time. The anger's still there when necessary, and I think that's part of masculinity as well. Sometimes you need to switch it on. And that could be in defense of Nick with your kids, your family. You know, there's obviously Nick's got a martial arts background, Thai boxing background, and that's still in there, still in the pocket. But you're not then fighting in the street. But if the time ever presents itself that you're with your family somewhere and there's a threat to your family, I know you and I know you'll do this. And your family will go behind you, and you'll put yourself between the danger and them, and you will do everything you can to that anger will come out, and all those skills that you've learned will come out to do everything you can to protect your family. And that is a massive part of masculinity as well. To be brave and confident and put yourself in harm's way to protect others. Because
To still throw a roundhouse kick, Chris, after all these years.
like, you've got to.
Might do my hamstring, but it'll come out.
Hey, but if it is in one of those moments, would you care? No.
No.
And it's also like, same for me, if I was to get arrested for defending my family because I've assaulted someone, I would not care. I wouldn't be beating someone on the ground, but I would definitely to protect others. Not myself, I'm dead calm, I just laugh it off. But when it's defending someone else who can't defend themselves, I'll stand up for stuff that I believe is morally wrong. And I've got involved in stuff on the street. I don't not necessarily physically, but if I see someone get picked on the street, I will say something. I will shout something and try and help. Whereas most people walk past. But I always think I'd hate to be in that position. I'd hate to be that person who sat there and people just walking past. You know, so to build something bigger than myself is a massive thing for me at the moment. It has been for a few years. To be a leader and take responsibility for everyone in my care. So when I build something bigger than myself, one of the things I want to do is a gym with thousands of people. I will take responsibility for all those people, which is why the leadership skills are necessary and everything else. Because although they're not necessarily my responsibility, I will take responsibility because I just feel that that's what I want to be. That's the person I want to be. But it's a big driving factor to be better because I have to do what's required for those people. To be a role model for other men. That's why I'm sat here right now. I want to be a role model, and I've worked very hard on myself and continue to improve so I can pass on the lessons that I've learned to help other men be better and live a happy life just like I've now started to. Because I was unhappy for a very long time in a lot of ways. To achieve success in my life, so then because, and obviously explaining to these points, to achieve success, obviously success in this is, I suppose, in the eye of the beholder, but the better my life becomes, the more the inspirational story gets created. Because, you know, I've gone through from being an overweight kid and struggling and angry and all this stuff that we've just gone through. Well, then if I'm at a point where I have a gym that has thousands of people and I've finally finished bodybuilding, achieved everything I want to do, all this stuff, and you go, wow, he's gone from there to there. What could I achieve? So that's a big driving thing. The more I achieve, the more it will help other people see that they're capable of more. And they can change their life too. Because I'm not fucking special. I've just done this for a long time. And with intent. So that's why we try and do this today. To be a man I'm truly proud of. It's a big one. To look myself in the mirror and go, I'm fucking proud of the person I am. Because a lot of people don't feel that. And then if you don't, so you've got to start doing the work to then become that person. That's one of the main ones you should feel. You should always feel proud of the person that you are. But if you don't, then you need to make some changes, don't you? It's a big indicator. There's nothing wrong if you don't. It just means you need to make changes. And we can always do that. Because if you are proud of the man you are, and people leave your life or anything else, you go, do you know what? I'm okay with that because I'm proud of who I am. To achieve financial freedom so I can give as much away as possible, which has been a big thing this year. I have given away more this year than I've ever given in my life, and more good things have come to my life because of it. Because I've just come to the idea that the more you pour into the world, the more the world will pay you back. So like the amount of invitations to stuff, you know, some of you guys have seen me at some of these events. Most of them I've been invited to, but I have been because I'm so grateful and thank everyone so much for inviting me. I give away to so many other people as well. And then it does pay itself back. I am really a true believer of that. I want to stay in shape year round and to be proud of the body that I built. It's 20 years in March, 20 years to be this person. I want to be proud of that, and I want to be able to be confident and sit here now confidently and go, I'm really proud of what I've done. It's not 20, I can look at the work, literally. Whereas if you're always letting yourself off and never actually get to a goal and have a physique that you're proud of, because you'll know that. Whereas if you know you've really worked hard, even if you're not like Mr. Olympia, which I mean, I'm not, none of us are, but you know you're proud of yourself, and that's all that matters. So, a big one for me was, I want to be described as a great man and live my life honourably. So I know a lot of you guys will have seen that from me now, where I live a life where I try to be honourable. And I think that dictates a lot of behaviour. And I'd say every man on this call is an honourable man. And that's why I know you all personally. It's why I like you all personally, because you're all honourable guys. It's a really important thing to have. Because without honour, then you end up basically with a lot of toxic traits. Whereas just trying to do that one thing will get rid of most of those toxic traits, because the two conflict. To help as many men as possible become the best versions of themselves. And that's obviously, we're going bigger than ourselves. To build a gym that is so unique it incites change in the industry. That is actually a dream. That's been a dream for 5 years. I know down to the way I want the taps to be in the changing rooms. And obviously some of you guys have had input in this. Jasper, I think, has probably had the biggest. The complaints, every complaint has been noted. Make a list. Every good thing I've ever seen in a gym, make a list. And then trying to put my heart into a building, which is the next one. Trying to put my heart into a building so that people feel the safety that I give them, even when I'm not there, the second they walk through the door. So trying to put me into a building, which sounds cheesy, but I want to try and find a way to make that happen. And that would come through building a really strong culture. So if you build a really strong culture that all the staff treat everyone the same, treat everyone fairly, make everyone feel like they matter, which is the next one. I want to make everyone feel like they matter and that they're valued and that their life matters. Because so many people just don't feel that. They don't have a circle of people around them. They don't have people treating them well. They have shit friends in shit situations. And then the only way they can change that is the lonely chapter, where you take yourself off to work on yourself. You haven't yet worked on yourself enough to align with the people you want to be, but you've left the people behind. And what often happens then, because people get lonely, they end up back with those shit people again. Whereas when you start working on yourself and become a person of value, even if it's just a great man, just a positive energy, you don't necessarily need money and things, just a good person. You'll eventually start aligning yourself with more and more good people, more good things will happen. They will help you win and succeed anyway. And then you will feel like you matter. But sometimes you have to go through that lonely chapter, and it's fucking tough to be on your own for a while you're working on yourself. But it's so worth it when you get to the other side, because that's what I feel like I am now. And when I did the end of year video this year, I burst into tears when I started watching that. So I was like, wow, I have got more people than ever around me, and I was a social reject. And it's just because I've worked on trying to be a really good person. And I've spent a lot of time on my own to just keep trying to get better. And it's finally paid off. I'm surrounded by great people, like even just the guys on this call, great people that I've come across, great people that I've connected with, and I hold on to and just show the appreciation for that as well. And then the last one's really funny as well, but to publicly share every single ounce of knowledge I've learned over the last 20 years, because if I don't, I feel it's a waste. Don't start knocking, mate. We've got another few minutes left. And the last driving factor, which is so funny because of how it started, is to become a man that my dad is truly proud of. Which is quite a full circle from a middle finger, fuck you, I hate you, all this sort of stuff when I started, to now it's the complete opposite. And it's to live, even if he's not watching, will my dad be proud of this? When I put to the socials, will my dad be proud of this? All that sort of stuff. And it's a thought process there quite a lot. And it drives me to all this stuff, to build the gym, to everything else. One of the main reasons is because that would now build a life and create a man that my dad is truly proud of. And the more of these things you can do, because it was when I actually wrote them down yesterday, I was quite emotional. Because look how many there are. But look how much drive I've got because of it. And then examples, which will resonate with some of you guys if we go to the next page. So, some client examples, which will, like I said, resonate with some of you guys. Again, a lot of these bigger than yourself. It seems to be when you go beyond yourself and it's about other people as well, and it's not just it's selfless goals, then you seem to be able to achieve so much more. But some of the more successful clients have got to feel like a man, because a lot of people genuinely don't. So then that's a goal that's going to make you work hard. To be able to play with my kids. You know, a lot of guys come in, they're overweight, they're unhealthy, and they can't play with the kids. And that's so demoralizing. They don't feel like a man for a start, and they can't play with the kids. They can't be the man, the dad they're supposed to be. Even just like the basic dad of like that their kids deserve. So that's a fucking big driving factor to making change, isn't it? Like, my kids deserve this dad, and I'm not being him, not showing up as this person. And then you're also then not going to be a role model if you're that person. But you're also not a role model if you're absent, you're angry, you're pissed off at work and you're bringing it home. All these things, you're not a role model. If your kids are buzzing to see you come through the door, or your partner of any kind is buzzing to see you come through the door, or your family, your friends, your housemate, I don't care. Your dog, even, something is buzzing to see you come through the door, you don't then bring your anger from the day in through that door. You let it go, even if it means you go to the gym first, so you show up at home the person that whoever is at your home deserves. And that is a big driving factor. And then to be a hero to your family. Like one of mine is to be a hero in general. So you don't need to be that. You don't need to be a superhero, but you should always try to at least be, if that's Joe Brandy salt in the background, by the way. But to try and be a hero to at least your family. So if you've got kids, if you've got a partner, parents, siblings, cousins, I don't care, grandparents, anything, to be someone that they consider a hero, to show up in a great way to them, be kind, be honest, be loving to them, show love to them, show appreciation to them. And that's a big factor, and it's again bigger than you. To be a pillar in your community. Some of the guys say that. I want to be a pillar in the community. You know, especially if you're in certain environments, it's something bigger than you. To give my family a great life, massive driving factor. You know, especially if you've got kids. You know, and obviously Nick, I know I think most of you guys got kids actually, but Nick's story I know more than most. You know, what, 10, 12-hour days sometimes, hour commutes each way, all these kind of things. Big part of that is I want to have a nice life with my family. Built this absolutely stunning house, which I'm still yet to come and see, by the way. Built this stunning house. It wasn't just for you, was it? It was for the family. And it's like, to do all these things, it's like, it's a big driving factor that makes Nick get up every single day.
Gives you a bigger sense of purpose, right?
Yeah. Which then goes back to the point of a masculine trait, purpose. A man is happy when he has purpose. Because if you were waking, say you didn't have a family, and you're waking up and you're doing long days, and it's just not really going, and you don't see where it's going, it's a lot harder to do. But if you're thinking it's not just about me, it's about us. It's like in your picture, when we build this house, it will, you know, what will the kids be like, and like, or being able to take them on a holiday, you know, because not everyone's really wealthy, but like, would that make someone work harder to be able to take the kids away, to do those extra hours, or get up early, or do the extra job? Yeah, it's going to make you work harder. So, I mean, this is again about the family, but to show up as the man my loved ones deserve. You know, if you have people that love you, they deserve a good version of you. They don't deserve the scraps at the end of the day because you're tired because you've been at work all day. And I know sometimes you might not always be your best self, but at least give them that sometimes. They shouldn't have the worst version of you because you're fucking tired or stressed or whatever else. You've got to find a way to show up as a good version of you. Some people have said to me, I want to find love. That really hits me when people say that. I just want to find love. But that's a big driving factor to make a change in your life. Change everything about yourself, the way you look, the way you behave, the way you show up, the job you have, the finances, everything. Because then the kind of person that you'd be able to have, or you'd be able to be in a relationship with, would be different. You know, if you're then someone who is lovable, If you're fucking horrible, no one's gonna love you. But if you're a really lovable person, then you might have someone that absolutely loves and adores you, will do anything for you. But you've got to be a lovable person first. And if you can get in good shape, and then okay, now I'm an attractive person. I've at least maximized my looks, presented myself well, like all these things that would then lead to something simple as I want to find love. Because if we start digging into what would make that attainable, a lot of changes. And then the next one is kind of similar, but being revered by my partner. There's a hell of a lot of guys in relationships. Me and Ryan talked about this because he had a couple of issues with drinking, lost his license. I'm sure he's not bothered about me sharing that, but I said to him, you know, these guys that you're drinking with, what do the partners think of them? He said the partners fucking hate them. It's like, why are you even hanging around with these guys? Are they going to bring out a good version of you that you even like? No, they're just it's causing problems. And that means you've got to go into a lonely chapter where you cut your friends off, but then it leaves space for you to find better friends that do bring out a good version of you, that do want to have you show up in a way that, because I'm sorry, but if you turn up pissed at home like a kid, throwing up because you watched the football, so like that, lad behaviour, no partner, no one finds that attractive. It's very unattractive. And do you think they're going to have respect for you and revere you? No. So then it's like we think more deeply on what does that mean, and it's all these other things, and it dictates a big part of the person that we become, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and everything else. Another one is to be proud of the person looking back at me in the mirror. So many people don't feel that, but like we should. That's a big goal. I want to look in the mirror and be proud. Like honestly, before my tummy tucks, I used to stand there and I'd grab and I'd hate it. But then prior to that, I was really out of shape. I didn't take care of the way I looked. I wasn't fit. I wasn't healthy. Like even my blood pressure was high. Everything I was like early 20s, or late teens. You know, and I definitely wasn't proud of the person looking back at me in the mirror. But I am now. And sometimes it could be a very long-term goal. But if that is a goal, that's going to keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. And then, again, we've said to feel comfortable with my shirt off, which was one of mine for a long, long time. Now, and it's the same with a lot of guys. I just don't feel comfortable with my shirt off. Well, do you know what we fucking deserve to be? You deserve to just feel comfortable with your naked self. Because most people don't. And I didn't for a very long time. It took a lot of work for me to actually feel that way and to stay feeling that way. But one thing I've found, once you get there and you build the person that is that person, it's a hell of a lot easier to stay there over time. You know, I've been ill for 2 weeks. It's just on the way out now. Done no steps, no cardio, but I made some other adjustments and I didn't really gain loads of body fat. I didn't really lose that much. So it shows that because I've done it for so long and that I've built the healthy habits, that it doesn't go as quickly, whereas it used to just like disappear. So, you know, it's, that sort of stuff is a long-term process, but it's so worth it. So, what I'd like you guys to do after this, I'm going to send this presentation over to you anyway, so you've got slides. But to find your reasons why. And it's the strongest predictor of your success. The more reasons why that you can have, the better your success will be in everything. It doesn't matter where you are now, the gap could be massive. You could be broke, no job, out of shape, everything, because I have been there. I might have lost everything 4 times, started at absolute zero 4 times. So the gap could be huge, because if you're going from, okay, I had no skills and no value at the age of 23, I then went to jail, so I'm even worse now. So now I've ended up with even less, at rock bottom, even less. And I've come home, back in my mum and dad's house, in my childhood bedroom, where I couldn't even get job seekers allowance because I've been gone for 5 years because they obviously didn't let me home. They basically declared me as non-British anymore. So I had nothing. And then I did a personal training course and I had no clue how to get clients. And then I've gone from there to this year we are doing this first gym, at least, might be 2. So I've somehow managed to find a way from one to the other. And yes, I'm not doing it all on my own, but because I've created this character and this person of value, I've been able to connect with the right people and build the right sort of friends around me, connections around me to make that happen, that dream happen. You could do whatever you want. You could be absolutely nothing right now, but you just got a desire to get better and you start going directionally correct and you will be surprised at how far you get. And that was one of the biggest things I wanted to biggest take home points today, that you can do more than you realize. That's one of the biggest things. And it's making sure that you guys, let me share this. One of the biggest things is making sure that you guys understand that you can be whoever and achieve whatever you want in your life. I mean, within reason. If you said like, I want to be Mr. Olympia, I want to be a gold medalist, something like that. Okay, I think that's probably not going to happen. But if you said, do you know what? Like, for example, my bodybuilding goal originally was just, I just want to do a show. That was the first goal. I just want to be able to do a show. I believe I can do a show. And as we've covered, it was Nick, my brother, actually believed that I might be able to. Even they probably had a bit of doubt. And then I said my ultimate goal, though, my ultimate dream would be to win a qualifier and get top 3, I said, the British finals. All right, I got 4th. But I won 2 qualifiers and I got 4th. And I think if I do this last season, I think I probably could get top 3 at British finals. I could definitely win a qualifier. It's like, all right, that's 14 years. Well, it wasn't the only goal, but I was still heading in that direction. I just kept going and going and going and going. And look what was possible. And I was not good. It's not good at the start. I was overweight, all this extra skin around my middle, everything. But it's just more to show you guys examples of what's possible. If you just keep going in the same direction, it's unreasonable to think you wouldn't be successful. And as long as you set goals that you can shoot for the fence if you want, because the idea of the gym was me shooting for the fucking fence. And if we get this one building, which potentially we might, and the guys are happy to finance it, it's going to happen. And you're going, oh my God, like this dream, this is like 5 years of every single day I've manifested this, I've thought about this, I've discussed this. Jasper knows, Peter knows, they are sick to death of me talking about the damn gym because it's a dream. And I could sack that off and just do the online coaching, travel, and do whatever I want. For some reason, I want to build this gym, and it's because of all those other reasons why, and what it will do for all the other people. And it's become that now. And now I've said, I have to do this. So the drive to achieve it became so much more. And I was like, I will find a way. Because originally I said 5 years. And then I said, no, 5 years is too long. I'll be 40. I want to do it in 2. And 2 will be the end of this year. And if we found a building, it would have already been being built right now. So you can see how, like, if we really push ourselves, you can do more than you even realize sometimes. And that gap was huge. But somehow I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I have no idea I'm going to do it. And there's going to be a lot of steps between me and there to get there. But I want it so bad that I'm going to find a way to do it. And it's the same for any of you guys. You can change your fucking life if you just want it enough. And you find your reasons why. So that's the end for today. This is probably going to be the longest one, by the way, because it was obviously an introduction. That was quite a lot to cover. The rest of it for the next 5 days is more to do with setting things up from a training perspective. So we've got training, diet, things like that. I want to go into hormones, performance enhancement, supplements. So there'll be a lot more questions in those as well. They'll be a lot more interactive. But that was more today. I just wanted to get it out there, get you guys introduced to the direction I want you to head in and start thinking in. And since I've done that, it's really, really started to impact my life in a positive way. So I also just want to leave it open now as an open Q&A. We're all here. Guys, I know there's a lot to digest there, but any questions? Have you got any questions? There must be some questions.
When you were getting a list of all those wise or the person you wanted to be, Chris? Did you have any prompts or any resources that you looked at to say, oh, actually, yeah, because you've had quite a lot of bullet points on there. I wondered if there's any sort of tools or anything you used to help you get to the.
What do you mean, just to decide them?
Yeah. They were the ones that you came up yourself, or did you use any materials or look at anything to give you ideas around the why and some of the goals?
Do you know what it was? I listened to a lot of podcasts, which I think,
Hmm.
someone actually, one of the guys I listened to a lot said it on a podcast yesterday. This idea that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, which is true. But he also said there's another one of that you are the sum of the 5 podcasts you listen to the most, which is also true. Because the ones I listened to, obviously at first it was the stuff I used to listen to on YouTube. Most of my education is on YouTube these days. It was all just about bodybuilding, and then it was about kind of training, nutrition, and then it's kind of going to coaching a little bit more. But then my knowledge on that was so far ahead of everything else. But then there wasn't much left to learn in a way. So then it started to diversify, and I've gone into other areas of, like I said, learn about emotions, learning about the psychology side of things. And that's really helped me evolve and start to see things differently and behave differently. And that's to show up differently in myself as well. Because things that depends where you look, but if you start basically going down the, would say self-development route, I suppose, because you're doing some sort of education. And I do feel that, again, if you're not moving forward with something, just anything in your life, you will start to have a negative impact on your mental health, which is what I mean, jail was a great example. Everything stopped. Life stops. And you're just like, I'm going nowhere. This is horrible. All I see is blackness. But if you can start moving forward with even one single thing, that could start to be enough to get momentum to start making a change. So the things I did was I started to learn Spanish, which gave me a little bit of self-confidence and pride, because I was learning a new skill. I was like, oh my God, I'm learning Spanish, and it was really, really hard, but it was something that, yes, it was relevant to the situation I was in, but it also really helped give me some purpose, some like I said, pride that I was actually learning something, I was moving forward with something. And then the other one I did at the same time was I was losing weight. So it's like I'm moving forward with 2 things. So the rest of my life was completely in the same place, indefinitely. Didn't even know I'm going, my life's over. But bearing in mind, we were on remand for 3 years. So you just sat there. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I don't even know why I was here for the first few months. And it was just like, well, if I can move forward with something, I can control the controllables. And that then started to make a big change. But like I said, one of the biggest things for me is just podcasts, which I think a lot of guys waste time just when I'll do idle stuff. So it's like when I was packing my suitcase, I've just got something on. And there's a few good guys that I listen to that probably is the sum of 5 main ones, and then some other ones. I just subscribe to their channels and listen. I just go down and I'll put that on my watch later list. It's a title that looks interesting, or it could be relevant to something right now. So as part of your journey that you're going on, it could be relevant to what you're trying to learn. Or just as like you think, right, no, I've sat and thought, where would I really want to be? Like, if dream life, what would my dream life look like? Is it even in the UK? Maybe not. And then you just start to like think, like really deep think about like, what do I truly want? I don't think many of us cut out the noise of life enough to really think that. We just kind of get up and get on with the day. But then you could still get up and get on with the day and do your normal day today. And it could just be that, like when I was at Pure Gym, I used to be driving there, I'd listen to educational stuff on the way there and back. So a lot of us are traveling to work. That could be the first thing. And then if we're cooking our food, I'll have a podcast on. I'm just in the kitchen doing stuff like that. Because I can't use my hands. I can't really speak to anyone. I've not got any message to answer especially. I'll just put something on. And some of them are just like really, really, really wise people with great advice. And it kind of just changes your perspective on the world a little bit. Maybe gives you a bit more of a positive outlook. And think, oh, do you know what? That was some great advice. Because most of us won't have access to these kind of people. but we have access to their conversations with someone else. So it's almost like for me, or at least feels like that, I'm having a conversation with them, or I'm overhearing a conversation with them and getting the good life advice anyway. And that's been a massive part of helping me change and then set these reasons why, like I said, that become less about me and more about other people. And the only way I was able to do that was from, I suppose, listening to other people talk, which was something quite valuable. And you know, the conversations we had on the way here last night were just about the way a lot of men behave and stuff like that. And so, well, the reason I know that stuff, which is then set some of the other reasons why, is because I have conversations with other people and ask questions. And it's like asking, like Pablo's been on, me and Pablo had a fantastic conversation, the first Zoom call, I think we were on for like 3 hours. Just interesting. And I'm asking him, he's not from the UK, Morgan's from Ireland as well. Like, we've got other people that are not necessarily British. So it's like, what's your country like? You know, I landed in Mexico last night. I'm speaking to this Mexican guy. He's like, hablas español? I was like, sí, hablo español. I speak Spanish. I learned it in Spain because I wanted to understand the South American guys, because they just seem like really cool, nice guys with nice energy. I was like, I can't even speak to you. And then we started speaking about like their countries and their customs and all this stuff. I'm like, just open my mind to not be so damn British. So when I go somewhere, I'm not just a British guy. You can kind of blend in a bit more and just adapt. And it's because I try and be open-minded and ask about different cultures and beliefs, and like, that really changes the way you think about things. But sometimes it means stepping out of your immediate area geographically, and you could get on YouTube and listen to some fantastic conversations. You know, and there's so much to learn just on there for free that, you know, it's something that I think a lot of people don't take advantage of. So, questions? Stu, I know you must have a question.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I think a lot of the guys said so. I think a lot of you guys have been through hard times as well. It's a lot of struggles here in different ways. Obviously, I'm not going to share the bits and all about everyone personally unless you guys want to share that yourself and share your own struggles with the group. But it's, I think going through the hard times is something that it really shapes us as a person, because you could either then be a worse person afterwards, or you can flip that situation to be a better person afterwards. And it's how you choose to frame it. Like for me, I'm saying, do you know what? I went to jail. It was shit. It was the worst experience of my life. And I'm also grateful at the same time. And it's like, you think like that's crazy what you're saying. There's
Chris, I need to run now, but yeah, thanks for the session, and yeah, look forward to joining some others. All right.
Yeah, so I mean, like I say, we're on tomorrow at 6 anyway. That's more about setting up training plans, setting up calories, and getting you guys on track for the actual physical side of things. This was more the mental and emotional side of things. The rest is all physical, pretty much the entire way through. So it's a little bit faster paced, and I can obviously get you
No,
guys
sounds good.
some stuff.
All right, mate. Cheers. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so just before we go, guys, I mean, like I said, you can reframe anything to be positive, even the shitty situation. So I could go, well, I lost 4 years of my life. It was a waste. I hate Spanish people, this, that, and the other. Or I could turn around and say, do you know what? I learned Spanish and met people from all over the world. I gained more strength to get through dark times than ever. I actually spent a lot of time studying. I learned to be strong enough to stand alone, because when I got out, I was stuck there and I had to learn to survive. Like all these things that, if you took that situation away, would I be the strong man I am today? I don't know. So I choose to look at it as positives, and I think, do you know what? It didn't need to go on for as long as it did to gain the positives, but I'm also glad that it happened. Like I choose to see lockdown as a positive, because it changed the way I thought, and thought I need to diversify my knowledge and my income and my skills, because I was a personal trainer and it was taken away. And I went, shit, what do I do now? And then obviously that's when I met Jake and maybe a couple of other guys, Morgan as well. Because I knew how to train people, so I could then adapt that to help people at home from an online perspective, but I wasn't ready to. If I'd had an online business, they were just exploded. They were already ready to go. So I think that made me change and think that I can't have all my eggs in one basket, because imagine I got injured. I'm out. Something happens, I'm out. You can get sacked from a gym for like that. You're out. So you go, well, that made me reshape the way I operate in my life, just as a safety net for myself. Because otherwise, you think, if I only know one thing and something happens, we've got AI software coming in now. Some people are panicking because I might lose my job. So yeah, but you need to think what skills do I have, or what can I learn? Because then I can pivot into something else. For example, my assistant has got a master's in English, which is amazing. And a few years ago, when she decided she wanted to do that, it's great. She lives in the Philippines. She's from the Philippines. So now a master's in English is really essential, because it's a baseline skill that can translate into anything else that requires the English language at a high level. Because if she's a translator from Philippines and English, it's not that good. And AI software will take that job over in the near future. But she's already pivoted into she was like a low-level virtual assistant, you could say, and now it's getting more and more like she's becoming a more skilled admin assistant and everything else. And the more time goes on, like, my business is starting to struggle to run. If she has time off, it struggles, because she handles so much stuff. And the more time goes on, the more valuable she becomes, and she's indispensable at one point. And it's like that. Well, it all started with a master's in English, and she's organized, and then she can pivot in something else. And then all of you guys will have skills that would be able to transition to something else. Like Jasper just changed jobs as well, and I've had loads of clients change jobs. Pete's changed jobs a couple of times. People do change jobs because it's like, well, I've got this baseline thing, so I'm going to go for that job. It might require a little bit more education, so I'm ready to take it on. But it's not like I'm starting from scratch. I'm just transitioning to something else. So there's loads of things like that that are really important for you guys to start thinking about for the future, because the fact is, the career you're in is going to have to evolve anyway. And with the way the world changes so fast, we always have to evolve as people. We always have to change and roll with the times, because otherwise we basically just become obsolete at some point. So that's why I said lockdown was a really positive thing for me, because that single incident happening, as bad as it was, I ended up unemployed and struggling, led me to change my mindset to all this other stuff, which has led on to all the other goals. So, right, guys, if there's no other question, I'm going to finish it there, because I've kept you off for a long time. I was trying to keep this to an hour. So I will try and...
Yeah, it's not really a question, but just what you're talking about, the mindset and stuff. I won't go into it now, but it's been a long time since I spoke to you last. But yeah, the mental stuff and everything has been what I've been working on. But it's a funny story. I had the book about, it could have even been 15 years, and it just fell off a shelf and hit me on the head, literally. It was Eckhart Tolle, A New World, it's called. But I never read it. Someone got it to me when I was younger, and I was not going through a good time. I thought, oh, it's hippie shit. But if it was only last summer or something, summer 2022, it fell on me head. I thought, do you know what? I'm stuck with the kids for 5 days because the missus is away on a destination wedding. I read it. She came back, thought I'd be tearing my hair out and like the Incredible Hulk when she got home. She was rushing home. But I read that while I was minding the kids, and it just kind of, I still refer back to it, and I'm not perfect by any means, but just, I don't know if anyone's kind of, or just on what you said, it's an easy read, and it's kind of just practical of how to approach stuff and handle stuff. I found it good. I've never been one to look into that sort of stuff. So it was just one thing. It was just so easy to read, and kind of you can do it day to day, even eventually. But I mean, I still refer back to it now.
And sometimes with books, by the way, guys, like I've referenced jail more times today than I think I ever have in anything. But there was people telling me, you need to read The Secret, you need to read The Secret. I'm going, I started reading it and thought, this is bullshit. But it's not. I was just not in the right headspace at that time to take in that knowledge. But like Morgan said, when he got that book, I wasn't in the right place. And then it just by chance, later down the line, I've read the book and it was like, wow, that's powerful. I'm so glad I read that. I always think it's like, it's almost like you change the filter that you see the world through. And I've done it so many times now. I'm just so open-minded and see so much stuff that the average person doesn't, because you've just gone like, you've had a conversation with someone, like read a book or listened to a podcast, and it's just opened your eyes to another perspective on things. And sometimes it's not the right time. And that's why I said I want to put content out, because today might not be the right time. It might be the right time for you guys, but it could be that in 6 months' time, it's the right time for someone else. In 6 years' time, it might be the right time for someone else. You know, and it's just, we're all at different points of our life and our mindset and what we're going through now. Some stuff will resonate at different times. And there are so many fantastic books. If you're not a book guy, like I don't really have time to read books these days, you can just get it on Audible on your phone. It's usually even read by the author. So it's in the way it's meant to be written. And you can still benefit from the book whilst you're driving to work or walking to work or even in work sometimes, depending on what you're doing. So I know, Jake, sometimes you could potentially do this in your job. Headphone on, like I had, because the girls were working in headphone, I was like, headphone on with some music on. And I'm just listening to music because I was working, and then it was to help me focus. But if I'm, especially like I say at home, I'm doing mindless stuff, if I'm walking anywhere, I'm driving anywhere, I'll usually listen to something. But a lot of this stuff wouldn't have resonated a long time ago. It resonates more at the right time. Sometimes something just finds you at the right time. And that's why you should never, even if something you've looked at once before, you're like, oh, that's bullshit. You come back to it later on and think, that's exactly what I need to hear right now. So sometimes it's not the right time. So Morgan, thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that you've done that, and it's hopefully helped you change and be a better man and show up better for your family as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. All right, guys, this has been amazing. So thank you all for joining us. Like I say, we're back on again tomorrow, but tomorrow's going to be a bit more interactive. So bring pens and paper potentially as well, or something to make notes on. I'll try and get the information over to you ahead of time anyway. I'm going to have to run upstairs to see the girls now anyway, because I've been absent for the first half the day. But I'll get this over to you later on. I know obviously you guys are at 6 o'clock, so it'll come through later on. It's only 2:45 in the afternoon here. And then tomorrow's one, I'll get sorted, get to you ahead of time, and then you can be ready for any information and stuff as well. We'll get you set up, because that was one of the main aims, to get everyone set up with some sort of program, even if it's just understanding how to write a program for yourself better, understanding your calories, training, nutrition, supplements, like we said, performance enhancement and hormones are a big part as well. That's why I wanted to keep it just guys as well. Like I said, if we do another one for girls, it would be different, but obviously a lot of guys are enhanced, continuing enhancement, things like that. So it's just having that baseline knowledge as well. We're not going to go too deep into it because I could be there all day, but we're just going to cover it at least so you've got some good understanding. So, guys, have a great rest of your evening.
Yeah.
See you on next
Cheers,
time.
you, Chris. Thank you for today, mate.
See you
Cheers,
later.
Chris.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Take care.